Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. Just a short video today. I'm in the garage and I'm looking at these Enduristan Tornado 2 dry bags. Now, pretty much the same as any other dry bags that you come across. They are soft luggage that is waterproof that somehow you attach to your motorbike. You wouldn't have thought there'd be that much to say about that. And to be honest, I hadn't thought about I'd even do a video for these. However, having used them a couple of times, I found they were particularly useful and different to the other dry bags that I've tried in the past. So I thought it'd be worth doing a quick run through of why I think that's the case. So they do them in 4 different sizes. Before you go for the biggest one, let me show you what the 2 smallest ones are like. So this one is a small, which is only 20 litres. This one here is the medium, which is 32 litres. Now the 2 that I don't have is the large, which is 51 litres, and then they do an extra large, which is a massive 82 litres. Now, why didn't I go for the massive one? Well, apart from anything else, I'm a big fan of seeing what you can store on your bike, and that's how much stuff you take. You shouldn't necessarily always have to go for the biggest luggage going. Now, if you're doing a big round the world trip or you're going somewhere particularly remote where you actually need to carry a load of stuff, then I guess maybe it makes sense to go for one of the bigger bags. But it's weight that's high up on the bike. If you're going to be riding trails, you don't really want to have that much weight high up. The panniers are a much better solution for heavier things because they'll unsettle the bike much less. There is quite a big weight limit on what you can put on the back of one of the CRF 300s, and it's only something like, I think 5 kilos officially. Now, I know a lot of people have put a lot more on that, but the 300 has a welded subframe, not a bolt-on, so if at some point you do overload it, you have a hard knock, then you never know what might happen. So what I'm going to do is just talk through just what the medium one's like, because I've got this one here in front of me, show you a few of the things on it, and then I'll show you just how much stuff you can get in them. So this is the bag. It's made of the same sort of really tough waterproof fabric that all the other Enduristan luggage is made from. It seals through, there's like a clip at each end. I'm going to take those off. Also 2 compression straps over the top. Get that open. And then it's got this stiff edge on both sides, so both on this side here and like a flap that will hook over the top, which just helps when you're rolling it up, so that when you do roll it, you don't suddenly get an air gap right in the middle there. Inside, it's bright red, so it is easy to see what you've got in there. It does have a zip pocket. I can show you that inside. There you go. So yeah, it does have a zip. It's a zip mesh pocket for putting a few things in if you want to keep them safe. On the outside, it has a carrying handle. It also has 2 loops for a shoulder strap or for attaching them to other things. So there's 2 there, and there's actually two lower ones on the other side. There's a pocket if you want to put an ID thing in, but the bit I think is kind of interesting or useful is the fact that it's got this webbing that's stitched into it. So if you can see that along there. So there's this webbing, and it's stitched all the way along, and it does give you these gaps. Now, where I found that was particularly useful was for attaching it to the bike, because you can actually put your straps up through those, and it means you only really need 2 straps, and they stop any lateral movement. Now, I know people have got solutions that use anti-slip matting that you put underneath your bag so they don't slide off, but the fact you can actually put them through means that just by attaching it and pulling it down onto the bike, it's also not going to run sideways. The small bag is exactly the same, and on this one, if I lift that up, you can see I've actually got the Enduristan shoulder strap attached to it. It's got like a thick neoprene pad that will fit onto this. It will also fit onto the medium. It'll fit onto any of the other luggage really. I thought I'd get one just to see what it was like if I had to carry the stuff from my bike to anywhere else. So before I fit it to the bike, I'm just going to show you how much stuff you can get in this. So this is the smallest one they do, and it's 20 litres. And this is the camping gear that I took to the ABR festival, and it all fitted in the small bag. So bearing in mind this is 20, so you could get one that's 4 times the size of this on the 82. But frankly, if you've got that much weight high up, I don't really know what you're going to do with it. Make a bit of space. So this is what I carry in my 20 litre small bag. I have a silk sleeping bag liner. It's just easier for laundry. I also have a inflatable pillow. I have a gas cylinder for my Jetboil. I have some titanium cutlery. I have a titanium mug because you need your tea wherever you go. Then I have my Jetboil Stove, complete with the drainer and the pan that goes on the top. Then I have my very thick Thermarest camping mattress, which is just brilliant. I think that's 70 millimeters thick. Then have a down 4-season sleeping bag, which is very light and was perfect especially for the UK. And then I have a 2-man tent. So this isn't anything particularly fancy. This is a T2 Ultralight Pro that came from Quetra, which anyone of you who come across the Decathlon chain of sports shops, it's their own brand. So again, that fits in that bag as well. It's where everything falls on my bike. And just when you thought you got everything, I also have my Helinox Armchair. So all of that fits in the smallest bag of these Tornado 2s that Enduristan do. So I'm just going to pack it up again, just in case you think I've just pulled this out from somewhere else. But seriously, everything you see here, tent, air mattress, sleeping bag liner, pillow, stove, gas cylinder, cutlery, and mug, and armchair, all fit into the smallest bag that they do. So bearing in mind that I can use this with the bigger 32 litre bag, which I can put on the bike at the same time. Also my Blizzard panniers, which will take another 12 litres each, so another 24, so bigger than the contents of this bag. That gives me so much luggage space, and it's all just quite efficient. It's in 4 bags, they're all waterproof, they easily attach to the bike, they're easy to take on and off. And I just think it's a really good system, which is why I kind of thought I'd do this video. Anyway, I'm going to put all this stuff back in. If you don't believe me, it does go back in. So armchair, 2-man tent, sleeping bag, Jetboil stove, camping mattress, mug, pillow and cutlery, sleeping bag liner, and a gas cylinder. So that's all stuff that goes back into the smallest bag, which is just the 20 litres. So it closes up easily enough. So I've just put those 2 flaps over each other. Just turn that over just to make sure I've got enough to put the end on. Same at the other end. And then there's 2 compression straps over the top. So that's it. So when I've got this on the bike, this is the smallest bag, remember, this does have all my camping gear, everything, which means that the 2 panniers and the 32 litre bag like this, I can use for clothes and tools and food and water and anything else that I need to carry. Hopefully all that makes sense. What I'm now going to show you is fitting this to the bike alongside the medium bag at the same time. So I'm going to stack them up on the rack at the back using some rock straps. So I'm going to put the Tornado 2 sacks on the back of the bike using these rock straps. Now, Enduristan do have some of their own branded rock straps, which use the same sort of really tough elastic that rock straps use. I think theirs are actually even tougher than these. I do have some somewhere. I think they're somewhere in a pile of bike stuff, somewhere in the garage. But anyway, I had some others anyway, so I'm just going to show you with these because it's exactly the same, except the Enduristan ones are a bit more robust. So if you've never seen a rock strap before, it's basically one length of really, really tough bungee. And the rest of it is just fixed webbing. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach these to the bike. So I'm just going to put these around the rack, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. This is my Yamato rack on my CRF 300 Rally. So now those are on, I'm going to put the bags on. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the medium bag on, which that's roughly in the center. What I'm going to do, and I'll show you this after I'm done, is I'm just going to thread these straps up through the webbing that I showed you earlier on the bike. That's the first piece. There's another. And then on top of that, I'm going to put the small bags. This is the one with all my camping gear in. Now, I know it looks a little bit silly, but believe me, I've done a motorway journey like this, and it was completely rock solid. I did stop a couple of times just to make sure it was okay. But yeah, they stayed on very well throughout. So again, I'm just threading that up through the webbing on the bike. I'm actually just going to attach that on just so it doesn't wobble off while I'm doing this. The bike is just on a motocross stand, so if there's a sudden crash and everything comes falling down, you know that it was not successful. Second one, up and over, same thing. Just push that through, give it a good pull. Move that back a little bit. And yeah, that is kind of it. I mean, you'd stash those out of the way just so that they're not flapping. So this is how it looks on the bike. As you can see, I've got my Enduristan Blizzard panniers down below. And these are the 2 bags. So this is the small one on the top with all the camping gear, the medium one, which I've just put some padding in down below. This is how the straps come up from the back. So that's what you probably couldn't quite see when I was around the back of the bike. Just threaded them up through these loops, and having them in those loops just stops the bike from moving left and right. Same on this side, just up through the loops on the top bag. So, you know, the top one's not going to slide off. round to the side, and then just look at it again from this side. What it does mean is you've got this big sort of seat area that's free, and if you're like me and you kind of need a bit of space in there in order to get your leg over to actually get on the bike, having this height at the back with the seat clear does make getting on and off the bike a lot easier. You don't have to thread yourself through a narrow gap. Now there is the question of weight on the back, so obviously moving that further forwards would reduce that, because you're essentially putting it where the pillion would go. There are all these fixing points on the Blizzard panniers themselves, so you could actually put one bag on the back, maybe a heavier bag across the top there, without raising it too much, so it would be about that sort of height. So yeah, I think there are a few options that you could take to put those on, but I think for a long distance luggage option, if you've gone for the large panniers or smaller like I have, so these are 12 litres each side, so 24 litres there. The bottom bag here I think is 32 litres, and this top one is another 20. So between those 4 bags, and probably the tank bag as well for a few bits and pieces, you can actually carry a huge amount of luggage just using a rack on this bike. It's all waterproof. I've fallen off a couple of times, nothing particularly hard thankfully, and everything has survived so far. And yeah, I rode back from the ABR festival with the bags in this configuration with the 2 stacked up. If you look on my Instagram, you'll see a photo of how the bike looked for that. So if it looks a little bit precarious to you here, I agree, I thought the same, but then having ridden all the way back, including some motorway riding, you know, really knocking it around, it didn't move at all. So yeah, I was really impressed with how well that worked. So that's it, that's my video about putting the Enduristan Tornado 2 bags on a Honda CRF 300 Rally. So these are on my Yamamoto rack. It's the small bag on top, which is 20 litres, and then it's the medium-sized bag underneath, which is 32 litres. So yeah, been really impressed with them. Fully waterproof. They're not that different to any other dry bag, but there's just a few little things like the webbing loops that means they don't move sideways. The fact they're pretty easy to just hook on the shoulder strap, and that they don't have lots and lots of tie-on points. So I've used dry bags before where they had like 4 bits that you had to hook onto the bike, then hook on and tighten up. So yeah, I just think it's just a really easy solution. They're not terribly expensive. Right now, in August 2021, the small bag is £64 from Enduristan UK. The medium-sized 32-litre bag is £73 from Enduristan UK. I'm sure those prices will change over time, and they'll also vary from country to country, but I'll put links to them in the description for the video if you're watching this in the future. Maybe they've changed a little bit. But yeah, I think that it's a really good luggage system. These are all things that I bought myself for the bike from Enduristan in the UK. And yeah, I really rate them. This is what I'll be using when I do my longer Trans-Euro trail journeys, probably next year now, once we're out of the current bout of COVID. But yeah, I hope this has been interesting and useful. If it has, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.